It's the middle of the night, and the men filming this video have just been woken up by a neighbor revving the engine of his muscle car.
Where are the cops? It's been going on for 10 minutes.
The neighbor seems to be pushing his car to the absolute limit. Until... The car is now in danger of exploding, so the man wisely bails out. But then, to neighbors' amazement, he goes right back to the burning car.
Hey, get away from it, bro!
I'm getting out here. Let's do it.
Finally, the man comes to his senses and stumbles away just in time.
That would explode. Yeah. I feel like we need to back dude.
Oh my God!
That was the sound of a tire exploding on the car parked in the next spot. It's a warning sign that the fire is spreading across the parking lot and getting closer to people's homes. Panicked neighbors have dialed 911. And when the fire department arrived, they are fortunately able to stop the blaze from spreading much further.
This turned from a noise complaint to, oh my God, I need 911.
The man who started it all turned out to be intoxicated and was treated for second-degree burns to his foot.
So much for trying to go to bed early.
He was later charged with a misdemeanor for negligent burning and endangering the safety of persons or property. The charges were later dropped, but his car was completely totaled, as was the one parked next to it, which, unfortunately for him, belonged to his girlfriend's mom. The average American produces about 4.5 pounds of garbage a day. And in Brownstown Township, Michigan, on a fall day like any other, this homeowner is taking his share of trash to the curb. But bounding across the street comes an unexpected visitor, his neighbor's fully grown Great Dane. The man doesn't know the dog and takes off to avoid what he thinks could be a potential mauling. But Scooby-Doo's cousin isn't interested in biting. He just wants to play. The man in the dark shirt is one of the dog's owners. He's trying to get it under control. But that's no easy feat. This fun-loving pooch weighs around 170 pounds. Finally, he and the other owner are able to get a hold of the dog, much to the neighbor's relief. The man said that he first thought the dog was a deer, but he went on to have a good laugh about the incident with his neighbors, and no charges were filed. A family inside this home were watching TV when out of nowhere, a driver exiting the parkway too fast loses control of his vehicle. A camera in the driveway captures another angle. The vehicle barrels into the family's driveway, striking their car and narrowly missing their house. Amazingly, no one is seriously hurt, and the disoriented driver is actually able to walk away from the wreck. Police deem the crash an accident, and no arrests are made. The homeowners are now working with their neighbor and the county to get safety measures put in place to prevent this kind of thing from ever happening again. We all remember our first neighborhood crush. That certain boy or girl who made our heart jump every time they walked down our block. For Jared here, that special someone is named Grace, and he's come to pick her up for their very first date. But he's about to learn that doorbell cameras can keep an eye on more than just a home and a neighborhood.
Hello, Jared. This is Pedro. This is Grace's dad.
Oh, it's good to talk to you.
Oh, sorry I can't meet you in person because I'm at work. So at least I get to see your face, but you don't get to see mine.
All right.
Where you guys going?
I think we're going to go to the Roadhouse and then maybe a movie.
Okay, which movie you guys going to go see?
Hello?
Hello, my young daughter. Just hold on 1 minute. Roughly what time you guys going to be coming home?
The movie's at 7, probably before 11.
Oh, I heard 10:30. Okay, that's good.
Works for me.
All right, so just make sure you treat her correctly because that's my first daughter.
You don't have to worry, sir.
All right. I got a good picture of you.
All right.
All right, call me if anything. And remember, I know people everywhere, so they're looking at what you guys are doing.
Okay, bye.
Don't make me look for you, because I will. You know I will.
All right, bye.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to talk to you.
So who is the mysterious daddy who sends shivers down the spine of every boy on the block? Well, he's this guy, Pedro Lugo.
I'm an old school type of guy. That's the way it is. This was like legit her first date with a boy. So you're taking out my baby girl for the first time by yourself? I got questions. Hold on.
You have my money, but technically you don't have to pay, so you'll be okay. So
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Take a picture of his license plate of his car right now.
What?
All right?
No.
I'll talk to you later, okay?
Bye. Oh my God. Bye.
Hey, go take a picture of his license plate. Better open the door. Good job on opening the door, her.
Fortunately for Jared, he got Grace back home in good time.
He actually had her here at 10:18 p.m. He was here early, but they were just parked in front of the driveway for like about 5-6 minutes. But best believe, I was watching through my phone what was going on.
Grace and Jared would date for half a year before going their separate ways. But Pedro is still coming to terms with his little girl growing up.
Currently, Grace, she's in college right now. She is not dating. Like she says, she's single and ready to mingle, which I don't think she's not ready to mingle at all. What advice I would give boys to date my daughter? None. I ain't giving you no advice. I am not giving you the cheat code to try to get in this right here. Nope. You're not getting my heart. For boys, this is an icebox. You just gotta find out for yourself.
Oh my God.
When Ethan Edwards moved to Hawaii in 2014, he thought he'd found his own private Shangri-La.
I live on what we call the Big Island of Hawaii. People could create their kind of own paradise because they could kind of be in their own little walled garden and had a choice to hang out with their neighbors. It is very possible that you could live here and not know the person across the street for 20 years.
But in 2018, everything changed. The Kilauea volcano had been erupting for a month, reclaiming the island at a rate of 6 football fields every hour. By the time Ethan, his partner, and some friends returned to their neighborhood, Leilani Estates, to process what happened, 70 homes had been lost, including their own.
This was a couple weeks after lava had actually taken the place that I lived. They kind of had established a system to let people in and out of Leilani, because one of the issues they were having is that people were coming in and stealing from other people's houses. Kind of this mentality of like, the lava's gonna take it anyways, kind of who cares? And so they had to set up a system of security. We had lived there, so we were able to get past like all the security. We were about 500 feet away from where our house used to be. So we just parked on the side of the road, and my partner, she got out and she was just looking at the lava and just crying about, the grief. And it was her like letting it go. Obviously the lava was happening, but had no idea what we were about to experience. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And when I say it, I mean this man.
It was the first and last time Ethan would meet his neighbor, John Hubbard.
It's just kind of trying to have dialogue, but there wasn't communication. It was like, here's a man with a gun pointed at my head. It's like, you need to get out of here. And he didn't really care.
The men have no idea that they live on the same street, and Hubbard won't listen to Ethan's pleas.
I live here, you get out of here!
He wasn't really asking any questions. He was straight up just demanding, get out of here, you shouldn't be here.
We live here on Hallcoville!
And I was like, hey man, like, I don't know who you are. We live here, this is a public road. You know, we have a right to be here. He fired twice, and there was this sense of escalation, is like he was becoming more and more serious.
No!
It's like the first shot was a little off, and the next shot was closer to my head. I didn't want the third shot to be me.
Are you kidding me? Stop! Are you kidding me? No! I live here! I live here! Out of here! I live here, you get out of here! We live here on Hallcoville! You!
And for me at that point, it was like, all right, this guy's got a gun. He's obviously not listening. He's in a super aggressive, violent state. It's time for us to get out of here.
To save his own life, Ethan had to think fast under fire.
So at the moment that I realized there was no communicating with this person to like kind of find a peaceful resolution, I was like, okay, either I'm gonna get shot here or someone else is gonna get shot behind me. There's really no neutralizing someone in that state that isn't willing to listen. All you can really do is ultimately walk away and hope they don't shoot you or anyone else. And that's what we ended up doing.
Get out of here!
Ethan's read on the situation may have saved his life and those of his friends.
We were all able to get in our cars and drive up the road. At that point, we called the police and we just hung out there for about a half an hour in our car just in case he came after us. Kind of in shell shock, just like processing.
That's when Ethan found an unexpected savior.
And so we're sitting there on the side of the road and this car comes by and just parks next to us, and this woman comes out and she's like, oh my gosh, are you kids okay? I caught the whole thing on camera. That was insane, which is amazing because there's no shadow of a doubt kind of what happened from that point.
She was a neighbor named Patty Jones.
But the way they were arguing, I thought this was weird. It's just that this guy wasn't acting. He wasn't acting with aloha. So I pulled out my phone and started recording at exactly the minute he pulled that gun out of his shorts. I wasn't worried about myself. I was more worried about Ethan.
I live here! I live here! Out of here! I live here, you get out of here!
My concern was just to protect everybody that was down there, so I had to get the police involved.
The police arrived on the scene and arrested 61-year-old John Hubbard. During Hubbard's trial, Ethan learned that his neighbor was a convicted felon, going back to a drug trafficking charge in Kentucky in 1976.
John had actually had a past felony and wasn't legally allowed to have a gun. And so in terms of charges, there was, I think, initially like 11 different charges.
Hubbard was convicted of terroristic threatening and for being a felon in possession of a firearm.
He did end up going to jail. I did talk to people that were friends with him, and on a good day, he was probably a nice neighbor and a good person. And stressful situations mixed with this entitlement of people believing that it's okay to be violent and force other people just came out that day. And I hope we can just move on and live our lives and more peacefully going forward.
Midtown Sacramento, and neighbors have just heard a car crash right outside their homes. They discover an overturned SUV and a woman trapped at the wheel.
I got you. Okay. Go move your leg over to the left.
She's been involved in a 3-car collision, is in complete shock, and is dangling upside down.
I got you. Okay,
First responders are on their way, but the neighbors are working together to get the woman out. Rollovers are among the most dangerous and deadly of car accidents.
Anything feel broken or anything?
The woman has to be carefully maneuvered out of her seatbelt, but one wrong move and she'll fall on her head. Finally, they're able to twist her out of her seatbelt, But now the neighbors have to try to get the dazed woman upright.
Okay. Thank you. I know they are down.
Just lean on me. Just lean on me.
Okay.
You all right?
I'm just.
My name's
Has anybody got a chair or something?
Yes.
A place you can sit down right here?
There are sighs of relief as the woman stands on her own 2 feet.
Come sit down.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You're all right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, things
Take
happen.
the next steps if you don't have to.
Your car's just a thing.
I'm just gonna have her sit right here.
Come lay down.
Wearing a seatbelt appears to have saved the woman from serious injury.
Thank you, everybody. Oh my gosh.
God, you're safe. So happy.
And the neighbors who came together to rescue her are amazed to see that she looks completely unscathed.
Can't believe that you don't have like an abrasion on you or.
When police arrive, they report no injuries on the scene.
Honestly, this is a miracle.
It's so crazy.
It's a miracle that you're
It
sitting here.
is.
It's a miracle.
I wanted to get a new
I'm just so
car.
happy that you're
Did you get a
okay.
punch for her?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I want to leave that up there.
Natick, Massachusetts. This man and his neighbor have been feuding for over a year, leading to this angry exchange right on the street.
And stuff that thing up your.
Go f yourself.
No.
Go f
You are the
yourself.
most disrespectful son of a.
Go f yourself,
You
Cuffy.
have no respect for yourself.
Go f yourself, Cuffy.
I find that on. And it's gonna go right up your.
Go f yourself.
Yeah. Well, I already put in a complaint to the police yesterday about you.
Go f yourself.
Say it again.
Go f yourself.
Don't say it to my face, you idiot. Come on out.
Go f yourself.
Next time I see you face to face, you're the one that's gonna go yourself.
Go f yourself.
Fortunately, the rivals don't come to blows, and both men eventually
Go f yourself.
stand down.
Go f yourself.
That's all, folks. Almost.
Go f yourself.
Next, we're in Miami, Florida. It's 1 a.m., and at a downtown apartment complex, security cameras record a man wandering around the parking lot. He's carrying what looks like a gas can. One of the building's tenants, Miguel Quintero, is outside getting some air. He doesn't recognize the man.
Living there 5 years, I did know every single one of the neighbors. He walked by and I just knew something was up.
The stranger walks off, but minutes later, he's back. This time outside the door of an apartment. He unscrews his can, pours the contents on the doormat, and then sets it alight and runs away. Inside the apartment asleep is Susie Rios and her 2 young granddaughters, who she's babysitting for the night.
I'm one of those people that when I go to sleep, I hear nothing.
As Susie's door starts to burn, it triggers the smoke alarm.
I never even thought it was a fire alarm. As I'm walking down the stairs, all of a sudden I see the downstairs full of smoke. There was no rear exit. So my thoughts were, okay, what do I do? How do I get the girls out? I mean, it was just like all hell literally broke loose. God willing, there's a neighbor out there, someone's out there.
Susie's prayers are answered. Her neighbor Miguel Quintero has seen the flames and rushes to her door.
My first thought is I have to pull this fire away enough from the door so that I can get to the door and bang on the door, ring the doorbell to wake everybody in that unit up. And then my next thought was, of course, let's go get him.
Incredibly, having just saved his neighbors, Miguel then chases down the arsonist.
He can hear my footsteps, and you see the fear in him when he hears me coming, because I'm coming in fast, and I'm a big locomotive coming towards him. So when he turns around, I see his eyes get real big, and he's just like, why? And from there is when I jump on top of him. And I know I'm not gonna hurt him too bad, but I'm definitely gonna do enough so that he knows he's not gonna go anywhere.
Miguel uses his college wrestling skills to restrain the man.
So I put his arm behind his back and, kept my arm around his neck. Not enough to choke him out, but enough to have control.
I finally get the door open, and Miguel starts screaming at me, call 911. He set the fire, call 911.
Get fired, Tim.
Is it him?
Yep, hopefully.
Yeah, I did. It's on the way.
I think time slowed down for me. In that moment, it felt like forever for them to get there, but when I look back, it was within minutes. So they handcuffed him and then, took him away and just kind of shook my hand and did a good job here. As far as a weapon, I didn't think about it. I just knew I wanted to get him and bring him to justice.
No motive was ever given for his actions, but 23-year-old Luis Menendez was charged with arson and attempted murder. He was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years. Ever since the terrifying incident, Susie and her family can't thank their Good Samaritan neighbor enough.
My first reaction was that I need to have a statue erected to Miguel. I need to have a halo placed on his head. He was our godsend. He is our angel. And I look back on the footage, I'm just amazed that we're here. I'm here. Most importantly, that my 2 baby granddaughters are here.
There's nothing in this world that could repay him for what he did for me and my family. Sorry, just give me a second. There's not enough words to say thank you, really.
I want to be a good neighbor. I want to know my neighbors, and I want them to know, as different as we are, because God, we are different. We want the same things.
You never know when you're going to need each other. They could need you, you could need them.
And I just want them to know who I am and that I got their backs. And what's great is, I know they have my back.
Now to Toronto, Canada, where a man is doing the dishes when his attention is drawn to neighbors in another building.
Yo, they're looking for their cat.
A ginger tomcat has strayed onto a neighboring balcony and is now stuck.
No. No. Yo. What the f is he doing?
From 6 floors up, a man in a high-rise can't believe what he's seeing. His neighbor opposite is risking his own life to rescue his cat. One misstep, and he could plunge 80 feet to his death. Now for the return. If the cat struggles, they could both be unbalanced. Thankfully, the cat is placid, and miraculously, this neighbor's reckless and ill-advised rescue effort doesn't end in disaster. All across the country, delivery people are neighborhood superheroes. They often amaze us with their determination to get the job done. And even bring us some joy along the way. Some are willing to help out, even when they don't think anyone is watching. So please, maybe cut them some slack when your next delivery doesn't quite go to plan. Like here in Tennessee, where dogs are barking at this guy's truck as it goes up the hill. Just off camera, the truck pulls up and the driver hops out to make his delivery. But he forgets one very important thing, and the dogs are the first to notice. He's forgotten to put the truck in park. But luckily for him, it narrowly misses this house. and finally comes to rest against a neighbor's fence. Nobody was hurt in this incident, but it's a prime example of how a simple little mistake can have dire consequences.